as we continue to see the chaos play out among House Republicans, which included the inability to name a speaker for 3 weeks. The need to tackle the important issues on behalf of the American people has been left behind. They are, however, back to the Republican Party's most important issue, besides making sure Trump is eating and isn't sad. Yep, you guessed it, Hunter Biden. Now, nearly a year since House Republicans began an oversight committee investigation into the finances of President Biden and his family, they subpoenaed Hunter Biden earlier this month. Probably to their surprise, Hunter has agreed to testify publicly in front of the full committee on December 13th, instead of in a closed-door deposition as requested. Now, you'd think that this would excite House Republicans, who cannot seem to get through any interview without segueing to the president's son. But weirdly, the thought of getting the opportunity to perform their Hunter Biden shtick live on TV is too much for them to bear. Perhaps because all their past public hearings purporting to provide bombshell evidence against President Biden have all been duds. Oversight Committee Chair James Comer says it has to be a closed-door deposition with the possibility of a public hearing at some future date, or Hunter Biden will face contempt charges. And one of the reasons he says a public hearing is a no-go is because of the Democratic members of Congress, of the committee.
This will be testifying in public, but not in a chaotic scene where the Democrats, who have already demonstrated they can't conduct themselves in a mature, credible manner during a hearing.
So apparently, it's the Democrats who can't act maturely during hearings. Representative Comer, wasn't this you just 2 weeks ago during a committee hearing?
That is bull. You look like a Smurf here just going around and all this stuff.
Ranking Democrat on the Oversight Committee, Congressman Jamie Raskin, issued a statement in response saying, in part, quote, "Let me get this straight. After wailing and moaning for 10 months about Hunter Biden and alluding to some vast, unproven family conspiracy after sending Hunter Biden a subpoena to appear and testify, Chairman Comer and the Oversight Republicans now reject his offer to appear before the full committee and the eyes of the world and to answer any questions that they pose. What an epic humiliation for our colleagues." Joining me now is Democratic Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett of Texas, a member of the aforementioned and august House Oversight Committee. Can I just show you one thing? Let me show you a picture. This is Marjorie Greene. Here's her at the IRS whistleblower hearing from July. Can we just show this? Oh, we don't. We have a picture of her doing it. She showed photos of naked Hunter Biden.
I was like right next to her, so I vividly recall that. Yeah, it's interesting that they have been spending so much time pouring into Hunter Biden, who's never been elected president, never been appointed to a post that would subject him to being impeached in the first place. And then, of course, they decided they wanted to show his private parts all over the hearing. But like to have him come in and have a conversation around whatever questions they want to pose. Mm-hmm. What they're nervous about is the D team, because we really the A team. Yeah. And that's the problem, right? Like, we literally have so many trained attorneys. He was complaining about Jamie Raskin, attorney. He was complaining about Dan Goldman, attorney. He was he was upset about Moskowitz, also a trained attorney. I'm a trained attorney. So when we come in ready for war, because this is a serious matter, even though we know that they don't take this seriously. He just called my colleague a Smurf, and he's saying that we're the ones that are acting out. Not Marjorie, not Boebert, not any of them, but it's us. And Jim Jordan is on here too. Now talk about sending out a subpoena and telling somebody to come in and testify before a congressional hearing. Jim Jordan still ain't showed up for his hearing, but he wants to be there. He wants to be able to question, but they know how epically they failed in all of their hearings, specifically the last impeachment hearing that they tried to hold. And so, therefore, they don't want the eyes of the world. I think that this was a very bold move on behalf of Hunter's counsel. I thought it was smart. Honestly, it's like, forget it. We don't want to fight it, because when you fight, sometimes people think you're doing something
that you're
wrong.
hiding something, right?
Exactly. But at the same time, he is still facing criminal charges. And so to come in and testify under oath, I don't want to do that in a deposition where you're going to get Comer and Jim Jordan and Marjorie coming out and spinning the truth or just flat out lying.
Right.
Instead, I would want to make sure that my client could be judged by his demeanor. It's the same thing that happens in a jury trial.
Right.
And the reality is that he potentially was going to be testifying to a potential upcoming jury for his criminal cases. And so I think it's the smart move. We should do it in public. What is wrong with transparency? But they're not about their life.
But I mean, the thing is, if you go back and you look at, I mean, this is what Comer said earlier. He said in September he would more than welcome Hunter Biden to come and testify, blah, 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 blah. Here's the challenge. Oh, actually, let me play it. Let me just go ahead and play it. Here's James Comer. Here, let's play it.
Hunter Biden's more than welcome to come in front of the committee. If he wants to clear his good name, if he wants to come and say, you know, these weren't 20 shell companies, they actually did something. He's invited today. We will drop everything.
Yeah, we'll drop everything. The problem is all the previous hearings, and I've watched you spar with some of your colleagues on the other side and destroy them. But I mean, the problem is whenever they said the business partner said, no, President Biden didn't have anything to do with it. Everyone they've brought in so far that were supposed to be witnesses for the prosecution ended up being witnesses for the defense. Have you seen, as a member of this committee, any evidence that President Biden has any involvement whatsoever in his son's companies or in his businesses?
I have not. And it's a fishing expedition. You know, one of the things that most people aren't talking about is he not only sent out this subpoena, he sent out a subpoena to the president's brother. He sent out subpoenas as well to Hunter's wife and so many family members. I mean, he is going after their entire family, just looking and hoping that somebody will slip up and say something that will give them a leg to stand on and be able to say, see, we told you. But that's not how the process works. What you're supposed to do is say, you know what, I see something and I need to dig in further. Right. Instead, they're saying, we don't see anything, but if we dig, maybe we'll finally find something.
Yeah. Let me go through. You mentioned some of the people on the other side. So as you mentioned, on the Republican side, you have people like Jim Jordan, Paul Gosar, Virginia Fox, the one who yelled liar at a reporter. You have Clay Higgins, Pete Sessions, Andy Biggs, insurrectionist guy. You could go on. That's what's on there.
Byron Donalds, Anna Paulina.
Byron Donalds, Anna Paulina Luna, Kelly Armstrong, Scott Perry, people who've been involved in things like insurrection, people who they're out there. Yeah. These are theatrical members.
Oh, absolutely.
And as you mentioned, on the Democratic side, you have some of your best sort of litigants, people who are former prosecutors, attorneys, et cetera. Absolutely. Do you think the reason they don't want to do the public hearing is mostly about the lack of evidence or mostly about the fact that they know that these people will make them look stupid?
I think it's the combination of both.
Yeah.
They know that both things will take place. Number one, we basically put the exclamation point on the fact that they literally have no evidence. We flesh it out so that people understand that what is being presented is absolutely a nothing burger. And they don't want that. He would rather be able to cherry pick and mischaracterize and misinform the public so that they can get public opinion back on their side. This is all about their orange Jesus and trying to make sure that they can do their bidding. We've said it over and over that they need to actually file a FEC report for all of the donations that they've given him through all this nonsense. I mean, the reality is that the Oversight Committee should be a very serious committee. Indeed. And we do have real work that we could be doing on behalf of the American people, but they've not chosen to do that.
They've chosen not to do that. It's just a show. Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett. Now, I would say that they don't want that Delta smoke.
They don't want that Delta smoke.
I won't say it. I'm going to hold
back. Even though she in green right now.
But we sometimes got to be a little ironic. Thank you very much, Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett. Much appreciated.